I never thought I was going to be the person to write romances. Like, that's just not my thing. Hey guys, welcome back to the Cozy Writing channel, where I have been absent for, Jesus, have I been absent for 4 or 5 months? Something like that. It's been a long time. So, I don't know, do you need to know why I was absent? Mental health reasons, basically. Let's chalk it up to that. I needed to step away. I needed to refocus on what I was doing. There was a lot going on, and I was having a really hard time finishing that novel. And it was just one of those situations where things piled up on top of things, and things piled on top of those things. And I actually eventually started seeing a therapist who gave me some tools to deal with the stress, and I'm in a much better place now. So yeah, let's get back to this. So, since I talked to you last in March? I don't know. But anyways, since I've talked to you last, I have finished 3 novels? Yes, I finished 3 novels. I'm working on the 4th. And that's a lot, you'd say, in 3-4 months. However, I don't know, math is not the thing I'm good at doing on the fly on camera. If you would ask me in real life, I could take a second, I could pause, and I could think, and I wouldn't have to keep talking. And in any case, it's a lot. And admittedly, yes, it is a lot. I'd like to say I had written 3 novels, but really the first one I finished was Dark Witch Rising, which, if you were any kind of a follower of mine before, you knew I was struggling finishing that novel. I worked on it for years, decades, an embarrassing amount of time, and eventually got to the point where it had gone through multiple edits. Lots of people had read it. I'd gotten feedback saying just kind of was all over the place, and I basically buckled down. I rewrote the whole goddamn thing. Like, I'm not kidding. From chapter 1 to, I think it ended up being like 32 chapters, all the way through. The first half had minimal edits in one storyline. In the other storyline, it had lots of edits. It was dual point of view. But then once you hit the midpoint, everything changed. I had to rewrite the whole goddamn thing. But it got to a point where I was happy enough with it, but I knew I had to step back. I couldn't keep fiddling with this novel for the rest of my life, which that's what it felt like it was going to end up being, that I was working on one novel for my whole life and never getting it out there. So I just kind of said, fuck it. And I stopped, I edited it, and then I set it aside. I have decided to try to traditionally publish that one, but I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope for it. I'm basically really impatient with the whole publishing process in general, and seeing all my Twitter friends go through this years-long process of giving their book to a traditional publisher who is then going to pay them pennies for every sale. I was just like, no, I'm giving it 1 year. I will dedicate 1 year to trying to find an agent and then get it published. And I'm willing to extend that if I find an agent and they really believe in it and they find a publisher. I'm willing to extend that, but I'm not willing to go over a year in the whole agent finding process. In the meantime, I have also started my own publishing LLC. So I guess I'm published by myself. In any case, the 2 books I wrote after that they're just kind of like a fun project I had been thinking about for years, but had never gotten to because Dark Witch Rising had always been my priority. So these ones, I'm calling them the Tarot Witch series, and the first one's called Death of the High Priestess, and the second one is The Wheel of Misfortune. And I'm outlining the third one now, but they're really fun. It's kind of a cozy mystery, but it kind of breaks a lot of the cozy mystery rules, which, you know what? I just don't care anymore. I don't care what genre it fits to. I'm tired of writing and trying to constrain things to fit into this sellable genre, and I don't care. I wrote what I wanted to write, I wrote what the story needed, and hopefully it comes together. So it's kind of a cozy mystery. It's got a mystery aspect, it's got a romance aspect, and it's got this young adult, like slightly older young adult, admittedly. Like it's not for 16-year-olds. It'd be more for like 18-year-olds and older. But I think I have the subtitle as being a YA cozy a witch YA cozy mystery romance with swearing and bad coffee. And that's just kind of it. Everybody who was reading this for me was like, well, there's too much swearing in this. Like, cozy mystery novel readers don't like swearing. And I was like, okay, fine, but that's what my story is. Like, it is a 20-something Nova Navarro is a witch who got thrown out of her coven, and she's struggling to fit into this. She's struggling to figure out where she fits into this magical world, and she swears because she's 23, and there's a lot of bad coffee involved. There's a budding romance. There's betrayals. There's magic, but it's a lot of. It isn't high fantasy. It's just a modern magic series about a witch who doesn't have a coven anymore and doesn't know what the hell to do with her life. And she's a huge fuck up, and she's just constantly screwing things up from page one. And I really like it. I really enjoy it. So I decided to make a whole series about it, each one based off a tarot card. So right now there's a projected 24 novels, which seems really ambitious, and I don't know if it's going to go all the way to 24 because holy shit, that's a lot. But it is based off tarot. Like the first one is obviously the High Priestess card, and the next one is the Wheel of Fortune card. But obviously I'm putting a spin on the titles, so yeah, that's fun. That's cozy. I've also started a modern romance series, which I never thought I was going to be the person to write romances. Like, that's just not my thing. I never thought I was going to be the person to write mysteries, but that's just not my thing. But these are the stories that are popping around in my head. So, you know what? My new mantra in life is just fuck it. That is my mantra right now. It's just, that's what the story I have. That's the story I'm going to put down and get out. Now, this is a lot of novels to have been written and writing at the same time, and you're probably wondering how the hell I'm doing that. And I've kind of accidentally stumbled upon a process that really works like really well for me. I'm a plotter. I plot everything. I plot what we're going to have for dinner this week. I plot my day. I'm a planner, I'm a plotter, that's just who I am. So I've kind of come across this process where I basically take 2 months to write a story. And that sounds completely bonkers. I understand that, especially from someone who took 20 years to write one novel. I knew I couldn't keep that up. I can't put out one book every 20 years. So what I did is I take the first month and I figure the whole damn thing out. Before I start this process, I already have an idea for the novel. I already have an idea for the plot. Like, those things have been percolated around my head. I have literally a cabinet in my desk with little mini notebooks that I call like my dust bunny bin, that I put in plot bunnies there that just pop in my head, and I know I'm not going to remember them later, but if I feel like they're good enough, I write them down. So I have a lot of stories that I have already kind of like half formed. So I think about those when I'm making dinner, when I'm taking a shower, I kind of flesh those things out. So when I'm ready to start this process, I already have a basic plot in place. So what I do is I take that basic plot and I take 1 month and I figure the whole thing out start to finish. And then once I have I call it an advanced plot. Once I have the whole thing like written out in chapter form, I figured out how many chapters I'm going to have. I've got the whole main arc in there. Then I break up each chapter into story beats. And I kind of figure for me, each story beat is about 200 words. It's just the number I feel comfortable with, that I can take a story beat and kind of expand it into. And I'm basically making a blueprint for myself about how to write my novel. So I take each chapter and I figure out how long I want it to be. So I want it to be about 3,000 words a chapter. And then I figure out, okay, that's 15 story beats. So what I actually do, I actually make 20 story beats per chapter, because sometimes things I have in my head don't actually need 200 words to come out per story beat. So I always give myself a little bit extra. And that usually means the chapters are a little bit longer than 3,000, but that also means that I've given myself a buffer for later in the novel when things are condensed. Like a story beat I thought would take paragraphs to explain actually explains itself in like 3 sentences. So it's give and take, it evens itself out. So I make 20 story beats and I write them out. I write out what's going to happen in each chapter, and there's a lot less pressure for me working this way. There is no set deadline for it. I mean, I give myself a month, but sometimes it takes 1 month. It took more than 1 month. The other month, I got it done in 2 weeks. So again, even this side of the process evens out, and there's just a lot less stress, at least for me mentally, as I'm doing it, because I'm not pressured to find the perfect fit to go forward with the story. I basically have a month to play around with it and figure out if it works or if it doesn't work, and to weave in subplots. And I'm not trying to figure it out as I go, which with Dark Witch Rising, it started out as plotting, and I tried really hard to plot it, but it took 20 years to finish that novel. So there was a lot of pantsing going on. There was a lot of changes on the fly that just I felt didn't work, and then I changed them, and I went back through and I rewrote things over and over and over again. And that process did not work for me. It works for other people, it does not work for me. So in this process, I can take my time, I lay out the whole story for myself, and then the next month I just blow through and I write it. Like, I just finished this. I just did this in June and July, and I was completely amazed about how fast I blew through the novel I was writing in July. July was, you might know, was Camp Nano, and I was like, okay, I'll join. I already have it on the schedule that I'm going to be writing. Let's just see if I can do it. I was done with that story in 21 days, and that's only writing on the weekdays. So I was done by July 21st, and that actually wasn't even me writing for 21 days, because I don't write on the weekends. I have to physically set aside the weekends to spend with family. Otherwise, I'm just the mom who be chained to her desk writing books, and my kids are off in the background. I didn't want to be that person. So the weekends are families for the family. But Jesus, I wrote that novel and I was done by July 21st. And it went so easy. That was the last book I wrote, and that was the first one where I implemented all my ideas about how to get the novel out. Where I wrote out everything, and I had a story Bible, and I wrote out subplots and little character bios for everything, so I knew everything that was already going on in the background of these characters. And I blew my own mind about how quickly it went. So that's awesome. And I started in the process again this month. I actually finished so early that I was able to get some editing done for the previous stuff, and I was able to get Dark Witch Rising. Listen to me. That novel's title has been on my lips for so long that I immediately call every novel I'm working on Dark Witch Rising. So I was able to finish the edits on Death of the High Priestess ahead of schedule. I got it out there for pre-order. It's on Amazon now. I guess I'll link the link below if anybody wants to check it out, but no pressure. I mean, I'm not here to sell my books. I'm here to stress talk about my writing life. But in any case, I got done so quickly that I was able to do other things, which was holy shit amazing. So this is only the second month where I'm implementing all of my ideas, but since it went so well the first time, it's like crossing fingers that this next time will also go really, really well. And it's going great. So yeah, that's what's happening. That's what I'm doing. And today my to-do list today is I need to finish doing the beats for chapter 5, which I think I stopped about halfway through on Friday, and then I need to do chapter 6, and that's all I'm telling myself I have to do today. I might go over, but I just can't believe how much less pressure is involved in this. Like, it feels so much better. Like, for me, it feels so much better. Like, and like, it kind of starts to feel like this actually can work. Like, wow. Okay, guys, thanks for listening to me ramble. Hopefully I won't be as absent as I had been. Like I said, I'm in a much better place mentally, and things are going much better in the whole writing world. The only thing that's slowing me down right now from recording is the fact that it's August, and my 2 school-age kids are home from school, so right now we are doing quiet tablet time in our room so Mommy can get some work done. That right now is the only thing that's preventing me from recording. So hopefully once school goes back in session, recordings will pick up and my posting schedule will get back to normal. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later.